Greetings. Welcome back to another unboxing. This one is from the good people at Recordmania in Sweden. Now, I haven't bought from them for a while. Not because I don't have great stuff. It's just that the postage is more expensive from these guys all the way from Sweden. So I do have to bundle carefully and make sure I'm getting some decent value in the end. Look, their prices are pretty good, but sometimes they're a bit much once there's the conversion to Australian dollars. But this time I finally pulled the trigger on some because one came up and I went, "Yep, this is the time to do this." So yeah, it's a quick one here, as you can see. It's quite thin, only 7 LPs. So let's dig in. Alrighty. Let's have a look inside. Again, nicely packed. Just lift for spoiler's sake. Oh, okay, interesting the way they've done this one this time. Glad I lifted it. So we just had the only this on top, and then I've got our piece here, and then not even in. That's interesting. No plastic sleeves, which is quite unusual. That never happens. Well, until now, I've never seen that. The records have been taken out of the sleeves, which is good news. Yeah, that's really kooky. All right. This first one was just, I put on just because, to be honest. It's a just because. I never knew about this until I saw it, and then I went and sussed it out. And then I happened to see it somewhere else, like on Dusty Groove or something, and I went, okay, this is coincidental. I've seen it twice now. And I checked it out because it looks quite cheese from the cover. And the year is early 80s, you know, are we into that naked electro-funk sort of thing? Yeah, a bit, but not totally. It's still early enough that it's actually quite, I would say almost P-funk kind of influence still enough. I like late P-funk, Parliament. And yeah, it's like actually not too shabby. I liked it, and I went, okay, well, this is pretty cool. And it was quite inexpensive. And this is a band called Prince Charles and the City Beat Band. And yeah, obviously not that Prince Charles. It's this Prince Charles. And yeah, you know, you see there, it looks quite cheesy now. We look at it, you know, in retrospective. On something called Solid Platinum Records. This is from the USA. I don't know if this pressing is. It probably is. I can't remember if it's somewhere else. We'll have a look. But yeah, like it's actually pretty decent for, I think it's like 1981 or something like that. Which we will find out hopefully. But yeah, and I like the fact it says Loose Booty, but with 2 T's. Loose Booty Production. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's like it's at least got like real instruments. That's the thing. Just, you know, sort of slicked up, tightened up by this time. That's what I mean by that sort of P-funk influence there. But it's got a little bit of that early 80s flavor, but I think it's early enough. And they call it punk funk, and I kind of get that a little bit. Not sort of totally like punk sounding, maybe it's in attitude and stuff. But yeah, you can see here we've got, yeah, it's a band. It's not just, you know, it's not sequences and, you know, DX7s or hold on or whatever, or samplers and things, you know. You can see that, and look, even you can see the influence. Dr. Funkenchain, the Fox, Tap Tap Walter Tap, PV My Feet Keep Beating. No, he's on drums. Yeah. Jimmy Johnson. I think there's lots of Jimmy Johnsons out there. Anyway, so yeah, like, and the production's actually not that shabby. I thought it was actually going to be not as good, being, you know, very sort of independent production, but it's quite crisp and clean. So yeah, I thought, yeah, that's a nice little bit of oddity, not too late. So I cannot see the year on this part. Now, conveniently, this stuff is already out of the packet, so we're just going to be careful, but I'm just going to see in there it's got, I can't see a year there. Oh, this one's made in France. There you go. Made in France. But I'm sure I'll pop up the year somewhere near my thumb here once I find it. Yeah. So, oh, sorry, price, you say. I've got to put that cover back up while I find the price. You got to take that in. I mean, it is a striking cover. It does get your attention. Look, this one cost me in total, in Australian dollars, $16.49 total. That's with post. So yeah, look, yeah, I'm not going to quibble about that. I'm just going to put that aside. Next up, this one I was more so after, and I paid a little bit more for, because I rarely see this, but it's pretty damn cool stuff from the early 70s, with a drummer sort of on the headline, which is yeah, always nice to have. Drummers getting some there. And yeah, this one's got some interesting stuff on. It's really, I really sort of dig it. Did stream it, and that is Paul Humphrey and the Kool-Aid Chemists. I like that. Yeah, and this is also called Lizard, which I've not seen before. That company, that's really cool. So I like getting stuff like that. Paul Humphrey's played on lots of people's stuff back in the D. This is his own headlining thing. And there he is, proudly on the back. Yeah, it's sort of funky jazz sort of stuff. And so if I just pick it up here, actually, you will see here, look, we've got David T. Walker on guitar. So that's nice. That's Bill Upchurch, not Phil Upchurch, but on bass. But I have seen that, again, when I did some research, I have seen that Bill has played on some stuff I've got. He was a sort of, I think, a studio muso, more so around the time. Terence McDonald, sorry, it's not ringing bells. But nevertheless, this is some cool stuff here from this drummer. Yeah, with some really nice different stuff on here. There is a couple of there's covers there like Them Changes. Yeah, from Buddy Miles, and also Band of Gypsies with Jimi Hendrix. Did a version of that. We got Ain't That Peculiar. Was covered a lot around that time. But there's some other, yeah, real cool originals. And yeah, as I said, I never see this. Now, year-wise, I'm pretty sure it's like 72 or something like that. Maybe 73. I'm trying to remember. I don't know why these ones are not listing years on them. I'm just going to check the spine. Sometimes the spine. No, not this one. Oops, sorry for that. So, let's just place that back there. And so this is already out of the cover, the record. So just we'll see if we can see anything on there. And lo and behold, I cannot. But yeah, you at least can see there. Yeah, we've got a couple of Paul Humphrey penned tracks there. The first two in particular there. Dreams G. Allman. Is that Allman Brothers, maybe? Or is that, I don't know. Yeah. So it's not giving me, again, any indication of year. But this one is saying Lizard Records, Los Angeles. So it's hopefully it's telling me, yeah, it's a I'm pretty sure an OG US pressing. It's oh, there we go. We got something. George Harrison, something. My bad. I didn't see that one. Obviously, Beatles song. And we've got a Stevie Wonder song on there, or co-written Stevie Wonder song called Music Talk. Yeah, but no. The good thing is, yeah, it's a pretty obscure album in a way. I believe my knowledge is, but it's a damn cool one. Sort of jazzy, funky sort of stuff. Oh, and price. I hear you holler before I move it. Well, yeah, this one I paid a bit more for, but it's in really great condition there, as you can see. So all up, it was just over the 30 Australian, $30.60. Yeah, I think post, sorry, I paid about $7 each for post, or $6.98. Something about that, for interest's sake. So yeah, a little bit more expensive, but not terrible, not like, sorry, Discog prices. All right, next one. I've had this on my list for a while too. Just waiting for the right price and condition by awesome guitarist. And this one is early enough in the game in terms of his career, particularly in 70s career, or late 60s. And this one comes from 1971. And you can definitely tell from this one because it actually tells you on the cover. So yeah, this one's an interesting one because it is a live date. Sort of early, incarnation, I suppose, of what this guy was doing before some other stuff. And that is Larry Coryell at the Village Gate. So it's a small venue affair, a prestigious venue sort of back in the day, is a small, smaller venue, but well known. And this is before 11th House Band with Muzon and all those guys, just a little bit earlier. And so it's a slightly different sound, a bit sort of raw in a way, but that's cool. Like it's got a bit of that sort of late 60s thing happening, a bit looser and rocky. So I kind of like it. He does sing vocals. He does he does use his vocals to sing. And look, he's not the best vocalist. You buy the record for his playing and the groove on this. And you can see there with the his earlier collaborations with Melvin Bronson on bass and Harry Wilkinson on drums. But he's also got, I believe that's his wife, Julie, with the additional vocal. And I believe she appeared on the cover of an LP a couple of years before, without any or many clothes on, I think with these. So I don't know if she had much collaboration after this one. I don't remember seeing her name after this 1971 LP. And you can see there it was recorded early in 71, so that's why I'm going to take a punt and say it was released in 71, sometime later. Let's see with the pressing of this. Again, the cover's in really nice condition, so I'm really happy with that. I'm just going to put it up here because it's probably hiding some goodies down the bottom. Yeah, it's when he was on Vanguard, cranking stuff out. So he cranked out a lot of stuff on Vanguard. And then I even think the 11th House stuff was, I might be wrong, but the early 11th House stuff I'm pretty sure was on this label as well. And I know some of his other LPs were on that, his solo ones like Barefoot Boy, and that I'm pretty sure was on Vanguard and all those. Anyway, you can see there, printed in USA. So does the USA original. It's not saying the year down there, but as you can see from the title, you get the idea of the year. And you can see these tracks live, nice and stretched out. That's why there's only 5. But they sort of get into a bit of a jammy groove sort of thing. Just out of curiosity, this is nice because we get the original inner sleeve, paper inner sleeve there, the Vanguard one. Obviously though, for the connoisseur, so that must mean I'm a connoisseur by default there. It's with the Vanguard labels there. There you go, copyright 1970. Well, that makes sense. Here we go with the price, you may ask. This is a kind of mid-price all up. With post, $25.90 Australian. So, you know, looks in a really nice condition. I think all of these are at least very good to excellent condition that I ordered. It's just a bit of dust there. Nice and shiny. Here's the beers. As the Coriel collection, which is getting pretty big at this stage. Yeah, but that's okay. It's good early stuff. Alrighty. Cracking a long next up now. This is the one I paid the most on, and really, I suppose I kind of bundled around the end and pulled the trigger. It was in my cart, sorry, at Recordmania for a while. I thought it was going to get sold out. Maybe the price, you know, scared people off or whatever, or made them resistant to it. Maybe it was the title they didn't know. Maybe it was the actual where it came from, which I'll talk about in a minute, because it is a soundtrack. And it is a soundtrack to a terrible movie. The movie is shocking. I'm going to be honest. But let's crack on in and show, because this is Blackula. Composed, arranged, or conducted, by Gene Page. Look, let's tell it like it, they would say. It's a blaxploitation movie, but in the horror genre. For the early mid-70s to mid. Yeah, I think it's pretty early, though. You can consider this like a blaxploitation soundtrack, really. Just not in that sort of gangster detective, you know, crime one sort of thing. And I don't know if I ended up watching all this movie, because it's pretty terrible. It's a great laugh now, and it's deadlier than Dracula, as it says there. Yeah, it's not a great movie, but the soundtrack is pretty damn cool. It is a bit up and down, uneven, like most of these soundtracks are back in the day. Yeah, but there's still some cool funky stuff on here. Yeah, that you probably wouldn't expect. So maybe that's the thing. This Blackula is the most horrifying film of the decade. Well, you know, I think we're at 1972, I'm going to say at the time about. So the decade had only just begun. If you said it's the most shocking, in a way, because it's pretty terrible shocking. All right, there you go. Yeah, 1972 on their Dynaflex on thin LP, on thin vinyl. Yeah. Now, it is Gene Page, but you know, I think it's not just exclusively Gene Page on here. But there is some fun songs on here, and yeah, there's some sort of soul stuff. It's, you know, there's some yeah, sort of funky stuff. I think there might even be some gospel tinged stuff, I think. Yeah, and you can see there we've got a couple of different rights. Most is Gene Page on there. I don't know if they're going to even list the band. I would absolutely doubt they would on a soundtrack like this, because it's not like a regular studio LP release. It's a soundtrack, and most people probably bought the soundtrack, didn't want to know who the players were anyway. They probably weren't even interested. But yeah, I'm really happy to finally get this. Here's the... oh no, that's right. This isn't a reissue. My bad. This is not on Dynaflex, which is probably good. It's got the original looking orange RCA label here. And giving it the OG look. Ooh, that's not a very nice... paper sleeve, but yeah, no, this is a reissue. My bad. Yeah, that's right. It's still in plastic. I forgot about that. With the stuck on barcode. At least that's stuck on. Now, gonna scare you by putting the picture up again. Price wise for Blackula. Blackula. How much are you, Blackula? You were, yeah, I paid more for this. $38.52. So we're under the 40. About a $1.50. So yeah, look, I paid a bit more, but hey, I never see this around, really. And look, the condition, even though it's a reissue, is awesome, but it's probably better as a reissue, so I don't get that crappy thin Dynaflex stuff. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. All right, so there's a Blackula. Nice to have another sort of awesome blaxploitational soundtrack in the collection. Now, next up, I had to do a bit of hiding for just in case I showed spoilers on this, because these things are sort of all over the shop. This one's been on my list for a little while. It's not high, sort of medium on the list, because it's pretty cool, and it's got a nice pedigree. You know, you'll see what I mean by that. It's from a good year, so good label and stuff. By a pretty underrated, or strike that and say very underrated, unknown in a way musician who did a lot of other people's stuff, and he finally got to break out and do a solo album as such back in the day, in 1970. And yeah, there's some nice stuff in here. It's mostly just covers, I believe. It might even be all covers, but there's some really cool covers on here, and that is Earl Van Dyke with the Earl of Funk. Fancy that, it's called the Earl of Funk. Now that is on a label here that I rarely see called Soul, but if you can check out the stylings of that, you will know that's a subsidiary of a Motown, kind of like the Gordy label, and I think there was a few others. So it is technically a Motown thing, and those of you in the know will know that Earl Van Dyke was one of the, well, unofficial, what are they, the Funk Brothers. He was on the recording roster for a long time at Motown, playing keys. So yeah, he's part of that alumni, if you want to say. A lot of time uncredited, particularly in the 60s run of stuff, until the earlier 70s they started to get some credit on the sleeves. But look, he would have played on so much stuff uncredited. So yeah, and hopefully the rest of the band is credited on this, because they will be a cracking bunch of Funk Brothers as well, for sure. There he is. He's getting his face on billing here, which is nice. Let's have a check down here. The Sound of Young America. Apparently 1970. There we go. So yeah, it's early 70s, on the turning point of 60s to 70s here. And let's have a look at this cracking list of songs though. And this is really cool. Look, you can see some more typical covers, but also we've got look at that, Silent Family Stone's Thank You. How cool is that? Yeah, we got Wichita Lineman. We got Na 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 Hey, Kiss Him Goodbye. That's real cool. Then look, we got the Meet a Sissy Strut. I mean, that's early. This is 1970. So that's not that much long after they released their own version, which would have been around, I don't know, 69 maybe even 70. Possibly 68, but it's very contemporaneous or whatever at the time. It was very current for the time. We've got a Stand By Me version there. He might have played on the original. Very much possible there. We've got a Stevie My Cherie Moore. Again, that would have been very contemporary for the time. And what else we got? We've got a Fuchsia Moods. I think, I remember that was a good one. It's a Van Dyke one, and the Stingray and the Whipperang. So he's left his own mostly for the last ones there. And then even on this side, you'll see we've got something called The Flick, which is again the last track on side. But so you can see they've made sure that they've put the more known songs earlier on each side, and then they've put his own compositions. Later, I'm like, oh, I'll sneak them on at the end, suck people in with the known tunes. Yeah, if it was up to me, I would have put his stuff first. But yeah, unfortunately, I cannot see. There is no listing of other personnel. That is a bit sad. I mean, typical for Motown at the time. I think it took another couple of years before they started to list, like on some of the Temptations albums, the actual musicians, personnel. It's just a shame they didn't do that on this. I mean, I could try to guess who's on there, and I'd probably be, 90-95% right if I just pulled out all the Funk Brothers names. But it's definitely got their sound. Here's the inner sleeve. We've got the original inner sleeve. Naughty there. The Motown sound and Motown first stuff. So that's there. I won't open the vinyl there. But yeah, so Earl of Funk. That's like Earl of Funk and Soul. How much did I pay for this? Well, I did pay a little bit more. I think this was the second most expensive one I paid for. Yeah. It was $35.41 Australian, all up with the post. So yeah, get a bit more expensive. I'm sure I could have probably found it somewhere else cheaper, but yeah, I wanted to get it in the collection. It was good to bundle it up to keep the postage down a bit. Earl of Funk. All right, next up. Okay, yep. Now this one is going to sound weird because I already own this album on vinyl, on LP. But I bought it years ago. It's a great album, and there's really, look, I'm going to be honest, this is an extravagance, and I just took the opportunity to bundle to get a sort of different version of this. Well, my version, when I bought it, because I sort of compromised, there was something missing from it. Not the LP. I got that, and it sounds very good. I'll show you in a minute. But great album here. I believe it's this person's third album, I think, not fourth. I'm pretty sure it's third. And that's Bootsy Collins, Player of the Year. Doesn't say it there. Yeah, I believe that's like the emboss. You can feel that. Yeah, so this is really cool. Anyway, now I do have this in really nice condition too. It is gatefold. I'll just show the back first with the Player of the Year and all the cool cats with the horny horns and Phelps, etc. Great band, still a great time, still some really interesting different stuff on here. It's very, very, very idiosyncratic Bootsy stuff. It's fantastic. This though is why I bought it's sort of an upgrade copy. I will say an upgrade copy, and it might not be obvious straight away. Again, if you know this LP, you'll know what's not missing if you know this. So I'll just give you a second. Can you guess? Or do you know? Yeah, look, it's over here. This here, these glasses that actually it's all perforated in here, and yeah, you can't really see it, but you might be able to see it's sort of die cut out there. It's perforated. Yeah, they push out or pull out glasses, whatever. Yeah, pop out. We'll say pop out. They actually pop out glasses. Now, I'm not going to pop them out because I've already got a version with them popped out, and that's what it looks like popped out. So there was like a hole in my soul. So yes, this is purely cosmetic or visual or whatever. Yeah, it's not essential as such. As you can see, this is a nice copy too. Look, even the front cover, this is only a little bit of creasing there. It is the same embossed there. The back is, really nice. Yeah, it's just I did compromise at the time. I did know all those years ago when I first bought the copy I got. that it was missing that. And it's always just been a bit of a bugbear for me as a big Bootsy fan. And I did always say, look, I'll get that, and one day I might be able to get it with the glasses. Not to wear, but just to be neat and complete, as you can see. So yeah, I did it, because it wasn't overly over expensive. I mean, it wasn't cheap. It's got the original sleeve there. It is, yeah, really nice condition. However, the price, baby, is, yeah, I paid all up with post, $25.90. Yeah, same as Coriel. So look, yeah, I bought it again, but hey, I might be able to trade in or sell off the other copy. I'll see which vinyl's better. I think they're both going to be great. Anyway, Bootsy, pretty sure third album, nice album. Got the glasses, baby. All right, and lastly, been off this one for a while. Been trying to get a decent copy. I had to sort of gamble on this because it didn't specify if it was a gatefold copy or not. I had a feeling it wasn't going to be. It's actually a reissue, and I know this reissue comes in two versions, one gatefold, one not. Now, because it wasn't specified, I assumed it wasn't going to be, and just thought if it comes in the gatefold, that's an extra bonus just in case they forgot to list it. Well, just feeling this now, it doesn't feel like they forgot to list it because it's not there. Is a recent-ish reissue of this album from about, I think, 1971. Yeah, early on, but I think this was a bit of a pivotal sort of point in this artist's recording career. And that is Bobby Womack with Communication. Yeah. So you can definitely tell this time Bobby Womack had just been messing with Sly Stone, like, playing with him. I believe he had stuff to do with There's a Riot Going On LP, recording with Sly or helping him out or whatever. I don't know if his stuff was credited or whatever, but it has been documented that Bobby Womack, was messing with Sly at the time that Sly was basically messing with the recordings for that LP in his home studio or whatever, and re-recording stuff, and mostly without the Family Stone. And you can definitely tell that Bobby Womack changed, and you can hear stuff on his albums and that are definitely sort of Sly influenced. Definitely I'm pretty sure he started using the Rhythm Ace sort of drum, machine type thing. You can tell. So this is early on. It was originally released on United Artists. I think from memory, this was the first he released on that. Now, the only thing is too, though, you can see down here, it does have a UA, but this is deceiving. And I'm not sure if Recordmania realised this, because I'm pretty sure they listed this as United Artists Pressing. And it's even got the UA codes and stuff. You can even see here on the label, it's got the big UA, but it's Unlimited Artists. So it's not actually on the original United Artists label. It's kind of like disguising. There you can see 1971. And yeah, this is not the gatefold, but it is in spectacular condition. I'll give it that. Looks new. Now, hopefully it's not because it's this pressing shit or anything and they got rid of it, because I know this is fairly recent. It's just not giving you the year. So yeah, we'll see. But it's not, it's not United Artists. It's this, other, well, I don't even know who owns this. I think it might be Bootleg. I don't know. Communication's a great song there. He's got a version of Fire and Rain, James Taylor, on there. There's a couple of songs I've got for me, I think, but not all of them, so that's the good thing. So there should be some nice sort of you know, crunchy sort of soul on here and stuff. Yeah, he's never too full on intense, but he's got some nice stuff with his raspy vocals, and obviously he went on to do Across 110th Street after this, a couple of years after, I think. Yeah, so he's got a nice run of 70s LPs. So it was nice to sort of get this one. I think this completes my, well, collection from about 1971 to about 1975, 6, you know, the good years. Yeah, and it's in spectaculoso condition. Yeah. And price on this one, before we get a finish here. Yeah, look, this was a respectable $30.60 Australian. So, you know, being that it looks basically brand new, I'll be honest. It looks pretty much brand new. Let's put this in here. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, look, if you look at that, I don't know if you can see, it's just dusty, but shiny as, like, you know, it looks minty, minty, mint. So for something that, you know, it's practically brand new, near mint minus, that's all right. It's, you know, that's a pretty decent price for something that's basically a new record. I'm okay with that. So yeah, that ends the 7 things I got from Recordmania in Sweden. Always dig looking at their listings, even though I know I'm not always going to buy from them. Every Friday at night, Australian time, so Friday their time, they put out their new listings under different sort of genres or themes, and it's quite exciting to watch, even though when I see some of the prices, I'm just like, damn, I'm priced out. Like, there's no way. And they just sell it like hotcakes. It's amazing to watch. So if you've never been on a Recordmania.se, I'd recommend have a check out, just even for interest's sake. I am not affiliated with them anyway, so I make no money off that. It's just a suggestion. But anyway, thanks for sticking in for that one. Kind of quick-ish one. And I'll catch you next time. See ya.